Hi, Leo. Welcome back to the Spirit's Path, and this is your monthly horoscope for April 2021. And as I'm shuffling the cards to pull up the card, let's just recap how the year started. All right, this is the year of the ancestor. All right, everybody's gotten this card. This is what 2021 is all about. It's listening to that universal beat and walking your own spiritual path, walking through those birch trees. All right. January started out with the Page of Bows and the Stoat. Okay, and what he's asked you to do in the month of January is to look at who or what is offering you the opportunity. Pages are messengers. All right, and this month of January was looking at opportunities for you to grow and learn. Listen for opportunities for you to, listen to that universal beat, maybe to free you up. Okay. So that you can move forward. All right. The Stoat also asks you what would how do I want to say this? How would things change if you engaged with this? How would things engage if you actually walked through those birch trees, right, and walked your true spiritual path? Okay. What opportunities are being offered? All right, now that Stoat, is looking at me. All right, and the next card that it's looking at is the month of February. The Wheel, Life Lessons card. And in February, you realize, the Stoat's asking you, what is offering you the opportunity? And it's pointing to the wheel. And this is, February was a month of making your own destiny, creating your own fate. Okay, being the weaver of the wheel, being able to do whatever it is you wanted to do, and that's a great way to live life, Leo. Is being in charge. That's what you're all about. Is being in charge. Okay, being the leader. Being the center of the universe. And maybe the message of how to engage in this is to do something with that fabric. Keep moving forward in the fate. And in March, it led you to happiness, that 10 of vessels, where there's so much energy, so much water, so much emotion, okay, that it's just been a very awesome month because you know what? You're in charge of what's going on. You've got your fate in your hands. You're creating that. Okay, and you've engaged with it. That's what, that's what's happened when you walk through that, those birch trees and you're walking on your spiritual path. You know what it takes to be happy. All right, and you're making that happen. You're creating your own destiny. Okay, so let's see what April brings up for you, Leo. We're going to do the same thing as we did last month. I'm going to draw one card for the theme, and then I'm going to draw, one card for each of the weeks, and we'll tie that into the theme. It looks like you're having a very good year, with what's going on there. Creating your own destiny. And you were all happy last month. As a theme. So, what does April bring for Leo? What does April bring for Leo? One card for the month of April for Leo. And that's represented by that Knight of Arrows, that hawk. Okay, so, as I place that down on the table, the hawk is looking back at March. It's looking back at the happiness. Okay, and, the hawk for me is, knights are tacticians and fighters. This hawk likes to soar high, and once he sees the prey, he swoops to it quick. Okay, now this is going to be a month of quick thinking, because that's what arrows are all about, is error, logic, reasoning. All right, and you might have to be quick in your decision making, but once you know what that goal is, okay, that's what you're going to focus on. So that's the month of April, Leo. Okay, to be like that hawk. All right, we'll talk about that and tie that into the rest of the cards for the week. Let's draw those out right now. So that first week, as you're taking on that aspect of that hawk, that Knight of Arrows, just want one card. You might be bored. Maybe there's no action going on. All right? There's plenty of action going on behind you. But that's represented by that Four of Vessels. That second week of April, Leo, will be represented by a Six of Vessels reunion. You're going to be reuniting with somebody. A lot of emotion energy so far, too. Queen of Vessels shows up that third week. All right? She's going to be asking what's enchanting you. And as I lay that card down, she is looking back at that reunion. She's looking back at that Four of Vessels. That Four of Vessels is actually looking back as well. All right? So everything's looking back towards that happiness, that Ten of Vessels of last month. The Knight of Arrows is looking back there too. And then the last week of April, Seven of Vessels morning. So, here you have Four Vessels cards for the month, which is significant because that's going to tell me that April is a very emotional month for you. Okay, maybe not an emotional month, but a lot of water energy. Let's put it that way. April is going to have a lot of water energy for you. Okay, now water energy could stand for emotions. Water energy could stand for psychic energy. Okay, intuitive energy. And with this Knight of Arrows having some air, logic, and reasoning to it, it wouldn't be surprised that this might be a spiritual month for you. Okay, one where your spirit's going to be flowing. Okay, and you may have to take on that aspect of the hawk. Okay, you have to be quick thinking, listening to your intuition, going with the flow. Okay, understanding that you were happy last month, and in order to continue that happiness, okay, you've got all this vessel's energy. Maybe you're going to reunite with somebody. Maybe that Queen of Vessels is trying to get into that pool, with the otters, which is, the Page of Vessels. Now, with the theme of this month being the Knight of Arrows, and this being the second court card up this year, as it's looking back at that happiness and you being the maker of your own fate and destiny based on the wheel. All right, this hawk is asking you, what do you need to stand up for? As well as have you checked your information? This month is going to be almost like a gut check time. Maybe you need to stand up for something. And it's going to be very, according to this, there's going to be a lot of water energy there. Okay. You may not see a lot of action that first week based on that Four Vessels boredom. Okay, but there is water flowing behind her. You have to realize that all you have to do is put your hand in those bowls. All right, put your hand out and let that water fill you up. The Ten of Vessels was last month. Those waters never run dry. But what do you need to stand up for? Don't let that lethargy during that first week or that vacuum suck all that emotional energy, that psychic energy out of you. Don't become bored. Okay? Go put something into action. Even if it's just, changing your leg placement. Moving off to the other side. All right? Don't let boredom get the best of you this first week of April. All right? Second week of April is that Six of Vessels, a reunion. All right, so where do you need to stand up for during that reunion? Maybe you're going to reunite with a soulmate. Maybe you were going to reunite with some coworkers. All right, there's a lot of great energy when you have that reuniting with somebody, this reunion. And here you've got, I'm going to call those otters that are right there. All right, and that's the Page of Vessels. That's giving you that opportunity to listen to the message, to understand what's going on. The first week you weren't hearing that message. Okay, maybe that was the anticipation of their, uniting with somebody you love. All right, or uniting with, a coworker you haven't seen in a little bit. And there's a message in there. There's definitely a message coming to you this month in April. Okay? From somebody that you're going to reunite with. Whatever that message is, that Knight of Arrows is going to be that tactician or fighter. Okay, you have to take on that aspect of listening to what's going on, all right, and maybe standing up for, whatever it is that's going on during that reunion. Maybe, challenging a position, right? Challenging a thought. That third week, the Queen of Vessels, she's looking back at that reunion. She's looking back at that Four of Vessels, that boredom, and she's looking at that Knight of Arrows too, let's say. Okay. Now, the salmon, the queen is all about nurturing the castle, all right? Nurturing those within. And, while that knight is out and about, this queen is talking with people, okay? And maybe this queen is trying to, dive into that pool for that reunion. And this could be somebody in your life during that third week that does that. That comes across that queenly aspect, that nurturing aspect, to help show you what you need to stand up for. Okay? The queen is going to protect everything that she has. She's going to protect her babies. Okay? And that's what this queen's doing. She's trying to get upstream so she can lay those eggs, so her babies, can go ahead and, live their lives. All right? She also asks, what's enchanting you during this process? If you need to stand up for something, do so. Do so in a spirit of happiness. Do so in a spirit of thoughtfulness, of caring. Don't be aggressive with that. As you're checking your information, the queen's asking you, what do you need to devote yourself to this month? Check the information that you have out there before you act quickly. Understand that, when the opportunity shows up, you're going to go for it, as soon as you hear it. But don't be enchanted by that during that third week. Maybe there's something that comes up during that reunion, an opportunity. Okay, think it through. Let that Knight of Arrows kind of rule that theme for the month. Okay? Don't, the Queen of Vessels is going to say, hey, what's enchanting you? That Knight of Arrows is going to say, okay, check all your information. And in the last week of April, you're going to have the Seven of Vessels in mourning. And maybe this month what happens is, as you're standing up for something, maybe there's going to be an ending. Okay? All these cups are dry. You've got so much water going on, from last month into this month, that now all these cups are empty. And, maybe during that reunion, you've given some of that energy away. And it's time to refill yourself up. Refill yourself up with that energy and don't mourn. And if you do happen to mourn, if you happen to grieve over what's left behind, just know that Knight of Arrows is sitting there asking you to move forward. Be quick with your decision making. Okay? Look for the goal that you want to be, because the Page of Bows has told you where you're heading down that path. You're the maker of your own fate, your own destiny. Okay? And last month was all about happiness. This month is all about that Knight of Arrows, that hawk. What do you need to stand up for? Maybe those that you leave behind don't have that water energy. Maybe they've been sucking you dry. Okay? Maybe it's time for you to move on. Let whatever's dead stay dead. All right? Move on into the month of May. And maybe that's the decision you have to make with that Knight of Arrows. That quick thinking process of moving forward. So there you have it, Leo. That's your card of the month. Knight of Arrows, the hawk. Enjoy it. In the back of your mind, ask yourself, what do you need to stand up for? What do you need to stand up for with that boredom? or with that reunion, maybe somebody, gives you something to think about, and maybe you need to defend it, or maybe you need to check the information that somebody's given you. The Queen of Vessels is there to help nurture as well. All right, to let you know that, hey, this might be an enchantment. All right, or, is it something you can devote yourself to? And in that fourth week, it's just realizing that all those, it's a week of mourning. It's realizing that all those vessels are empty. So there you have it, Leo. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others. And this is D for Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you next month in the month of May. Take care, God bless, stay safe, everybody.